that, and we are also a great contributor to peace processes that are going on around the world. And of course, we want to discuss how we can support each other. You are a much bigger economy than we are. We're just a tiny economy, but we rely on each other on a number of issues. We've got critical minerals that you want to fuel the growth of your own economy and reindustrialize. So we have that on offer, including rare earth minerals.
A lot of people are very concerned with regard to South Africa, and that's really the purpose of the meeting, and we'll see how that turns out. But we have many people that feel they're being persecuted, and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on. And we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that. It's a kind of a different meeting. Normally we have meetings, we talk about trade, and we'll be talking about trade and other things. But that certainly will be a subject that comes up. Yeah.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying to do?
On which case?
The ICJ
the International
case
Criminal Justice.
I don't expect anything, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. It's they've got a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens. We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to mean. Yeah.
Simon, what would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that.
Our President will respond to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories. And is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. Can we draw my membership from this useless parliament?
Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill. Gaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
The man of D-A-N-T-E is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel
a terrible pain because you have turned a white man. Not because Mashama and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, no one. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
Shoot to kill Yamasa, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer. Shoot to kill Yamasa, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, was not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't ever see the future.
Yeah, but, I mean, do you understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocide over
I can't take it.
Who will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
But you know that
To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couples say that they were attacked violently. And,
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it isn't?
well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just
clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilizing...
The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently.
But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly, we were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are problems.
And this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States,
those are all those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about.
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, very bad. And because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time, because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that, because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
From them. And those people in many cases are being executed. Yeah. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases those people are being executed, and in many cases it's not the government that's doing it, it's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. Mm-hmm. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die.
I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a rural safety problem in South Africa. I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require a different strategy to be able to deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too there have a memorial to those who've died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues at police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to start making farm attacks and stock theft a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this, that the two individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa. Mkhonto Wesizwe under Mr. Zuma and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema. Now the reason that my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa's party was precisely to keep those people out of power. We cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions. And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs the support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that rabble getting through the doors of the union bodies, because then South Africa's future would be...
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying, kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia. They're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. And they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this.
And thanks for the honor of being here. We've known each other a long time. We have spoken. You know, we're proud South Africans. I still have my South African passport. You know, we travel with this passport, you know, and I got my visa here. So, you know, but we want to see things get better in our home country. That's the bottom line. It's been 35 years since the transition. President Ramaphosa was right in the middle of the transition time in 1990 and before that. So it's been 35 years of ANC government. And I know there's a lot of anger, you know, through the transition. There was also a lot of stuff happening in the apartheid days. You know, we grew up in the apartheid era. But I don't think two wrongs makes a right. You know, President Mandela, when he came out of prison for all that time, didn't come out with hatred, you know, and really unified our nation through sport. You know, we won the Rugby World Cup in '95.
4 times.
We won the African Nations Cup, soccer. You know, we won some majors as golfers and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, this has been a long time coming. That's why we really wanted to meet you, meet the administration, and see our way forward, because we still want to see our country flourish. You know, we've got some great things going on. Business is getting involved with government. Farmers are getting involved in local municipalities, trying to rebuild some of the infrastructure that's been decaying for a long time. So there's a lot of coexistence going on and help from a lot of areas. But I feel we need the US to push this thing through. We've got a great ally, if we can have the US. It's always been an ally of South Africa for a very long time. Even in the days of the war, you know, up in Angola, you know, you guys helped us. So very important for us to have your support and you know, get the change we need.
Where did you do that well? He might have done that even better than he plays golf, which is almost impossible. Johan, please.
Sorry, Mr. President, if you had to wind all of those tapes properly, you will see I'm the biggest target of that rabble-rouser. Number one for over 10 years. Mr. Malema. In fact, the first time I met him, he was in the youth league with that gentleman. And look how he's changed.
Right.
We have too many deaths, but it's across the board. It's not only white farmers, it's across the board. And we need technological help. We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on us. I mean, US SpaceX, the ridicule. So if you can help us. Remember, sir, you and I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York could be what it became. 2 commissioners, a tough mayor. We need your help to stop this awful killing. But it's across the board. Ernie is right now building a house in George. I'm building 3 cottages for my grandchildren on a farm outside Graaff-Reinet. I often go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border. And if you really look at our statistics, a lot of these murders, firstly it's unemployment and illegal aliens. And then I met Vice President Barnes many years ago, the Charlie Rose show. My wife loved the book. And she reminded me this morning that you emphasized the devastation that occurs when big companies leave towns and cities, and there's a culture of dependency that develops. And I remember you discussing it. Now that's our problem. If we don't get our economy to grow, the culture of dependency and the lawlessness will increase. I've again been against apartheid all my life, and I'm their number 1 target. Please just Google my name and Malema. You'll see it, sir. He marched on the farm.
But the crime is bad.
The crime is terrible, sir, but Mr. Steenhuisen won't admit to it, but he runs the Western Cape, where I live. And the biggest murder rate is in the Cape Flats. Gangs. We've got gang warfare, like your M33, whatever these guys. We've got the equivalents there, but we need your help, sir. And we need Elon technology.
Well, one of the real areas of support is really in investments. We've got to grow our economy, because through growing the economy, we're then able to create more jobs. Because crime really thrives where there is inequality and unemployment. And that is one of the reasons that has brought us here, to improve our investment relations, our trade relations, so that we can preserve the number of jobs that your companies have created in South Africa. By virtue of what we export to you, we are able to create up to 500,000 jobs in the auto industry, in the agricultural industry, and a number of other industries, mining, where we export things to you. And we also know that as South African companies invest here, you are also able to create jobs. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So our main real reason for being here is to foster trade and investment so that we are able to grow our economy with your support, and so that we are also able to address all these societal problems, because criminality thrives when people are unemployed, when they have no other hope to eke out a living. So that is what we need to resolve, and your support, your partnership with us is what is really going to give us a strong capability to move forward.
Excuse me, do you have anything to say? I mean, I don't want to leave you out. You know, the guy won 3 or 4 majors. 3 or 4?
No, only 2.
2. That's a lot. By the way, 2's a lot. A lot of tournaments you won too. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. President Ramaphosa. I grew up in an area in South Africa that is a farmland area, Polokwane. And there is some issues up there. Obviously, my dad was a property developer as well as a part-time farmer. And yeah, some of these buddy farmers got killed. The farm is still going. My brothers run it. But it's a constant battle with farms they're trying to burn the farms down to chase you away. So it is a concern to try and make a living as a farmer, and at the end they, without farmers there's no food on the plate. So we need the farmers to produce the food.
Farming, right? He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't even want to do what you're doing, right? They love farming. They don't want to leave. But it's a struggle.
Yeah, and food and fresh water is the most important thing in life. Without those 2 things you can't survive.
How is the water there?
The water is great, obviously. All the water comes out of the borehole, out of ground for us down there. But yeah, it is a battle to get the water out sometimes when all the equipment gets stolen all the time that you're trying to get the water out.
So does your family and your brother, do they feel safe on the farm?
They live behind electric fences, try and be at night safe. But it is constant whenever you leave that something could happen. And
there's nowhere to live.
Both of them has been attacked in their houses. My mom's been attacked in her house when she was 80. So it is difficult. But the guys live a great life despite everything going on.
My name is Yanda Mobo from Newsroom Africa in South Africa. How important is it for the United States to be at our G20 summit in November, given the relationship between our 2 countries? You just heard what has been said to you just now. Are you coming, and are you preparing to come?
So without the United States, the G20, just like the G7, used to be the G8, but brilliantly they threw Russia out. It would have been a lot better if Russia was in. A lot of people would say, oh, that sounded, because if Russia was in, you probably wouldn't have this war. And if you had a different president, you wouldn't have the war either. But we have a G7. It's important that the United States is in both of them. I think without the United States, I really believe it's not very important. It's not the same meaning.
As I said to President Trump, the U.S. really originated the G20. And it's important that the United States continues to play a key role in the G20. And we are privileged to be the president of the G20, but we are even overjoyed that we are going to hand over to the United States, who are the originators. And for that reason, I expect the United States to continue playing the leadership role in the G20 together with other countries. And I've said when I initially spoke to President Trump on the phone, I want him to come to South Africa for a state visit, and I also want him to come and participate in the G20. And I want to gladly hand over to President Trump to take the leadership of the G20 forward in November.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
This is not just a diplomatic war between Donald Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa. No, but this is a sovereign war between the US and South Africa over the land without compensation. This left South African reacts.
The minority in our country, obviously being the white people, are feeding us Africa and South Africa, it belongs to the Bantu people. It belongs to the Ngunis. The land must go back to the chiefs. Land must be expropriated without compensation.
I am a farmer. I've been doing that for 5 years commercially, and I operate on leased land for 5 years. So for me, this is the process that it might not fix everything, but it will get me into the playing field.
Yeah. If there is today a blanket expropriation happening, they will still not give you the land. If the ANC was in any way serious about giving black people land, I have no problem. They should give black people land.
The government doesn't trust black people with land in this country, and that's evidenced by the millions of title deeds that are held in backlogs.
Since taking power once again, Donald Trump has been taking a lot of shots across nations all over around the world, starting with Canada.
Why should we be subsidizing Canada?
Mexico.
Criminals, people from jails come through Mexico.
China.
China makes the fentanyl, gives it to Mexico.
Denmark over the Greenland. Now South Africa.
The South African situation is very, very dangerous. There's tremendously bad things going on, including the confiscation of property.
Guys, with a stroke of a pen, Trump ended up signing a bunch of papers ordering the cut of funds on the South African aid, which has been there for so many years. He did this to many more countries, and he celebrated this. He said this is a victory for the US because all these countries, they are begging him to make deal with him. He even used strong words by saying that.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
You can sense the kind of arrogancy coming from Donald J. Trump, isn't it? Because he used this strategy to demolish all these nations who are being affected by his economic strategies. He did all this because he wants people to go ahead and beg him, isn't it? Now, with this kind of arrogancy, why is Cyril Ramaphosa going to the US to meet Donald Trump? Because we're talking about a man who does not want South Africa to succeed, a man who wants to destroy the South African economy, a man who wants to ruin the South African reputation out there to the world. Why? All because South Africans are not allowed to discuss about the land which has been taken away from them for many years. Guys, I have a question. Do South Africa really need the US in order for South Africans to survive?
South Africa needs America. If we don't work together, people are going to die. South Africa shall lose more. America does not have doctors currently that's out of a job. We have medical students that don't have a job. Worse PEPFAR. Without PEPFAR, it shall be worse. HIV/AIDS is going to kill our people. I'm coming here today. If you hate America, that's fine. If you think this is about Donald Trump, that's even fine. But this is not about Donald Trump. This is about the 230,000 people that will be out of a job. This is about the people that will be dying. I'm not here. I don't care what you feel. Come here with a plan. Don't hi me here. You have medical aid. You have free medical aid. You have free state medical aid. You come here. Hi.
The gloves are off. The war is ongoing. It is either you win it or you fight until the end. Otherwise, you will have to surrender. What position is South Africa taking from all this? Today, we are seeing President Ramaphosa in the US. But is it President Ramaphosa who's doing all this, or is there a mastermind behind all this? Well, this video will help you to understand the reason why President Ramaphosa is in the US.
Do you South Africans want this country to collapse? Nobody wants this country to collapse. Donald Trump is tormenting us every day and night. Every week, tormenting us. A country like South Africa. He knows he's got what we need, and don't hide it and try to behave like as if we don't need America. We need America. For South Africa to survive in the trade and global sphere. If South Africa were to collapse, the rand becomes something else.
this country becomes a wrap. Me and you, we don't have two passports. We're not gonna run to UK or anywhere. We are here, we will die here, in the wrap. The ANC has got the responsibility to protect South Africa's interest.
Now you understand why President Ramaphosa, he went all the way to America to meet Donald Trump. Because according to Fikile Mbalula, South Africans need the US. Because the US is kind of like contributing in South African economy. That is according to Fikile Mbalula. And all this is taking place when South Africans are saying otherwise. When South African oppositions, politicians, and all South Africans in the countries, they see that this is kind of like selling out our sovereignty as a nation. At the same time, the opposition political parties in South Africa had a different opinion concerning all this because they knew very well that there's nothing good that will come out from this meeting between Donald J. Trump and President Cyril Ramaphosa.
So it's a waste of time. He's going to, if he wants them to start treating him differently and is going to beg them to attend the G20, he's going to have to compromise some of the fundamental policies of this country, which were not prepared. If he does that, he must not come back. He must stay there with those 49 Afrikaners already. He must also stay there because he can't compromise our sovereignty for political expediency. We've got positions on Palestine. We've got position on the embassy of Israel. We have a resolution of parliament that said that embassy must leave South Africa. Its majority in parliament took that decision. So you cannot go alone as an executive, overrule the position of parliament. If he does that, it will be illegal and we're going to fight it.
Now, with all this being said, it was all up to President Ramaphosa now to stand on his feet and try to pass a strong and bold message to Donald J. Trump. When it comes to whatsoever Donald Trump has been doing around the world as bad propagandas towards South Africa government. It was up to President Ramaphosa to understand what I have said before about Donald J. Trump. These are the things which I will need to have that courage to tell him right in his face. President Ramaphosa once said to Donald Trump that
Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Traore. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues and we will not get involved in your issues in America. President Trump, as a leader of an important country like the United States, it is important for you not to disrespect or show any disrespect to any country in the world. We want the United States to engage with the world, with other countries, with due regard, with respect, particularly Africa.
you were not there when these people were committing serious crime in South Africa. You were not there the time of apartheid. So what makes you think that you know South Africa better than South Africans themselves? What makes you believe that you know the history of this country? And what makes you believe that there is genocide which is taking place in South Africa when there is nothing? Because according to different ONG and different politicians all over around the world, everyone knows very well that there is no genocide in South Africa.
There are no Afrikaners who have been killed here in South Africa. It's not true. And there are no 49 Afrikaners who left South Africa. You all know that. It's a fiction. It's drama. You know, America with drama is number one. That thing is Muvhango. I don't know what is Muvhango in Africa. It's just a drama.
So with this so-called genocide that Donald Trump and his friend Elon Musk is calling on South Africans, where is it coming from? These are the kind of conversation which President Ramaphosa need to have with Donald Trump. These are the kind of questions which President Ramaphosa need to ask Donald Trump in order to clarify their opinions. But unfortunately, that could not happen. Why? Because we are talking about the men who had hold already the government of ANC right here. And they feel like if we try to show attitude to Donald Trump and his administration, we'll end up being treated as a Zelensky.
But you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in...
We'll end up losing everything because ACOA is on his way going out. A lot of business that the US does with this and that, they are threatening them already, forgetting that these are the same method which these people, they've been using for years and years. In order for them to control you, they need to make sure that they quan you somewhere very tight so that you don't move, so that you comply with whatever they are telling you. And the US with Donald Trump, they are doing all this for the simple reasons which we all know. It was South Africa which was the first country to take the Israel to the International Criminal Court against the crime which they had committed in Gaza, isn't it? Do you think that South Africa was going to walk free from all this? Which I doubt. It was South Africa who tell Donald Trump with his government that no, stay out of South Africa government affairs because we are a sovereign country. You can't come and tell us how to deal with matters of land without compensation. This is our land. We are dealing with people who are within South Africa. This does not concern you. And Donald Trump, who decided to come to the defense of this so-called white minority in South Africa, who could see the reaction from all over around the world to what people are saying. Donald Trump is doing all this under the influence and with the anger to punish South Africa so that he can impress the East, whom are the big allies of the USA. Because remember, all the crime which Benjamin Netanyahu have committed so far, if he have to be arrested today, this man will vomit the secrets, will tell each and every secret which will affect the US because they have a big role to play in whatsoever has been happening in Gaza. So I strongly believe that Benjamin Netanyahu had threatened them that if you guys will let me go, if I go down, I'll go down with you. So since they like to look out there as a fine example of democracy, people who don't violate the human right, people who don't kill, people who don't do this and that, of course, they'll have to come and attack the ICJ and South Africa, who have reported this case to this criminal court. They punish the ICJ already. They say, they accuse it saying that no, they're using their power to influence things around in the case of Israel and Gaza. And now they're dealing with South Africa by doing all these things. And to make even things more worse, by opening up the borders for these 59 white South Africans to go in the US. The borders which Donald Trump had closed from day one of him and entering in his office. He closes the borders for everyone. Of course, according to many reports out there, they say that he closes the borders to people of colors, black and brown colors, not for white people. You guys, you saw how Latinos came out in their numbers and started expressing themselves for the fact that Donald Trump is busy deporting them outside of the US, yet is opening the border for these white Afrikaners to go in the US. That is politics. So, guys, story short, it is up to President Ramaphosa to see on how he can handle these matters. Is he gonna just sit and keep quiet and listen to Donald Trump talking without stopping? Or is he gonna stand up and man up enough and speak in behalf of South Africans and reminding to Donald Trump that whatever he's trying to do is something that him as the head of the state of the United States of America will never gonna allow another country out there to come and do. That it is the good advice that I can give to President Ramaphosa. Let him listen to Donald Trump, but he must not give in. And he must also speak out. He must not act in the diplomacy way, which will end up becoming even more defeated by the US administration. But he must show that this is South Africa. They ally to China. They ally to Russia, Brazil, India, and so on. This is South Africa, which represents the Africa continent in the world platform. Just like when we are playing World Cup, all Africans comes together to support one African nation so that one day these African countries can raise up the World Cup. So, President Ramaphosa, he have just represented Africans in this meeting with Donald J. Trump, the man who does not even have respect for Africans. So, he rather defend Africa with everything they have in his power. That is the only way Africans will back him up. But if he have to go there and listen to Donald Trump and being humiliated by Donald Trump and being treated like a Zelensky, who's being considered there as the puppet of the Western or a small boy, well, again, it's going to be a very big embarrassing for President Ramaphosa. Let's hope he's going to do things differently by speaking the truth and make the entire world understand that we are a South Africa, which is a sovereign country. Guys, thank you so much for your time. It was very important that we come here and have this conversation with you. What is happening right now to South Africa is not good. This is unfair. And the truth needs to be told no matter what. By all means, we'll stick on the side of the truth. Thank you so much for watching this video. We are really appreciating your time to be here with us. Like this video in your numbers before you leave. Give us your thumbs up. We really do appreciate that. Support us in any meaningful way that you can, because we are being attacked by these people whenever we're having this kind of conversation with you. So subscribe to the channel, like to the video, share the video. It's a way of you also supporting us. We're looking forward to see you again in our next video. I believe that will be all for now. Continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind. Have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.